Hi, I'm Bill. Let me ask you something. How many things have you already tried? Maybe you talked to your doctor and got a prescription. Maybe it helped for a while. Well, maybe it didn't help at all. Or maybe it helped with the physical part but left everything else, the confidence, the anxiety, the sense that something was fundamentally wrong, completely untouched. Or maybe you've been searching online, reading everything that you could find, trying to piece together an answer from 100 different sources that all seem to be saying something slightly different. I know that search. I lived it. And what I eventually found was not what I expected. What I found was a medical system that had been successfully treating erectile dysfunction for over 2,000 years. Not 20 years, not 200, over 2,000 years. And most men in the Western world have never heard of it implied to this way. I'm talking about traditional Chinese medicine. Now wait, before you click away, I want you to stay with me just for 2 minutes, because what I'm about to tell you is not what you think it is. Traditional Chinese medicine is not a folk remedy, and it's not superstition. It's not something that someone invented in their garage. It is a complete, comprehensive medical system with a continuous history of clinical practice spanning more than 2,000 years. It has its own anatomy, its own physiology, its own diagnostic system, and its own treatment protocols for virtually every condition known to affect the human body, including erectile dysfunction. In 2019, the World Health Organization formally recognized traditional Chinese medicine in its International Classification of Diseases. That is the same organization that sets global health standards for every country on the earth. They recognize TCM because the evidence for its effectiveness could no longer be ignored. So, why have most men never heard of this approach to ED? It's because Western medicine and Eastern medicine developed in almost complete isolation from each other for over 2,000 years. They are asking different questions and using different frameworks and looking at the body in fundamentally different ways. Western medicine asks, what is the specific mechanism that is failing and how do we target it directly? Where TCM asks, where is the balance in this person's whole system that broke down and how do we restore it? And both questions are valid, but for a condition as complex as erectile dysfunction, which involves the brain, the hormones, the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, and the emotions and the relationship in the TCM question might be the more complete one. Here's the core of what TCM understands about erectile dysfunction and what Western medicine is only beginning to catch up with. Your sexual function is not isolated in one organ or one system. It is the product of your whole body working together in balance. In TCM, there are 5 major organ systems that directly govern your sexual energy and vitality. The kidneys, which store what TCM calls your sexual essence. The heart, which governs circulation and the capacity for passion and connection. The liver, which controls the smooth flow of energy throughout your body. The spleen, which produces the vital energy that fuels everything. And the lungs, which connect the entire system to the energy of the world around you. When all 5 of these systems are in balance and the energy flowing through them is moving freely, your sexual function works naturally. But when one or more of them is out of balance or blocked, the effects ripple through everything else. This is why a pill that targets one specific mechanism often feels incomplete. It addresses one part of a system that involves 5 interconnected parts. Now here's where it gets really interested, for anyone who wants to know the science behind it. Modern Western research is beginning to find physical evidence for what TCM has been teaching for 2,000 years. A 2021 study published in the journal Science Advances identified a network of fluid-filled spaces in the body's connective tissue, and that's called the interstitium, that researchers have proposed as a possible physical basis for the meridian pathways that TCM has mapped for centuries. Research on Qigong, the energy and movement practice that is part of TCM, it was published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, found measurable improvements in the autonomic nervous system function. That's the same system that governs your body's ability to achieve and maintain an erection. And what about the Nobel Prize-winning discovery of nitric oxide as the molecule that makes the erections possible? The TCM principle of promoting smooth blood flow and relaxing the vessels that carry it describes the same mechanism, just in a different language. 2 traditions, 2 ways of seeing things, 1 truth. Now, I do want to be honest with you about something. When I first encountered traditional Chinese medicine as an approach to ED, I was skeptical. I had spent years looking for answers in the Western medical system. The idea that an ancient Chinese text had something to teach me about my own body, that felt like a stretch. But I was desperate enough to try it. And what I found on the other side of that skepticism changed my life. Not because TCM replaced everything that I knew, but because it filled in the gaps that Western medicine had left empty. It gave me a framework for understanding my body as a whole system rather than a collection of isolated parts. And it gave me specific practices, things I could actually do every day that began to restore the balance that ED had disrupted. Those practices, that's what I teach in my full program. The breathing techniques that increase nitric oxide production and calm your nervous system. The organ practices that stimulate and balance the 5 systems governing your sexual energy. The meridian work that keeps the energy pathways flowing freely. The energy circulation practices that Taoist practitioners have used for thousands of years to maintain sexual vitality well into old age. All of it rooted in traditional Chinese medicine. All of it supported by a growing body of modern research. And all of it tested by me personally before I ever taught it to anyone else. The link to the full program is in the description below. Now, if this video opened a door that you didn't know existed, subscribe so you do not miss what comes next, because there is a lot more where this came from. You are not broken.